October 4, 2008. A 24-year-old American steps off a plane in Pyongyang, capital of the world's most paranoid dictatorship. He's carrying textbooks, a Bible, and absolutely no spy training. Within 6 months, Kim Jong-il's regime hands him something no foreigner has ever been trusted with: unrestricted access to North Korea's elite university. For the next 6 years, he'll walk past armed guards, who could execute him for a wrong glance. He'll teach the sons of generals, party officials, future nuclear scientists. They think he's just an English teacher. He's actually gathering intelligence on the Hermit Kingdom's inner circle and funneling it to the outside world. One mistake, one suspicious question, one student reporting him, and he vanishes into a labor camp where 200,000 prisoners are already buried. But here's what makes this unthinkable. He didn't just spy on North Korea. He became one of the only Westerners to live inside the system, eat their food, follow their rules, and somehow convince the most suspicious regime on earth he was loyal. The CIA has spent billions trying to penetrate this country and failed. How did a civilian with no training survive 6 years inside the world's deadliest trap? And what did he discover? That North Korea kills to keep hidden. North Korea, a nation sealed by barbed wire and constant surveillance. Every visitor is shadowed, and neighbors are potential informants. Open internet and private calls don't exist. For decades, U.S. intelligence was blind inside North Korea. Satellites mapped missile sites but couldn't hear whispers offline. Networks and outdated defector intel left gaps. At one point, even gossip from a sushi chef. Guided profiles of Kim Jong-un. Human spies fared worse. South Korea sent hundreds north. Few survived. The CIA had no way to place Americans inside. Leakers faced execution. Outsiders faced the same. North Korea was the hardest of hard targets. By 2009, as North Korea's nuclear program accelerated, Washington grew desperate. Trillions spent on advanced technology, yet no one inside, the one place America needed intel most. To get a spy into North Korea, you'd have to invent him. Someone who could enter legally, blend in over years, earn trust. All without triggering suspicion. An American in North Korea was as conspicuous as a neon sign in a blackout. Except one man was already there. He wasn't a trained operative. He was a Baptist pastor from suburban Virginia. In 2004, he crossed into North Korea with a business proposal. His name was Kim Dong-chul. By the late 2000s, he had become a trusted foreign investor, the only American with a foothold in this forbidden land. He ran a hotel in the Rason Special Economic Zone, dined with officials, and received personal commendations from Kim Jong-il. The CIA's white whale, a long-term American resident in North Korea, existed by accident. Kim Dong-chul had opened the front door that the CIA couldn't crack. But would this ordinary man agree to become something he never trained to be? And what happens when the world's most paranoid regime starts noticing patterns? Kim Dong-chul's path to Pyongyang was anything but conventional. Born in Seoul in 1953, he immigrated to the United States in 1980. He settled in Fairfax, Virginia, the classic immigrant success story. He became a naturalized citizen, earned a PhD in theology, and served as a Baptist pastor. He wasn't James Bond, he quoted scripture. In the early 2000s, Kim felt a calling to help fellow Koreans, with his wife, a Korean Chinese woman. With intriguing family connections, he moved to northeast China as a missionary, providing aid to ethnic Koreans near the North Korean border through his wife's family. Doors opened. One relative had high-level links to Pyongyang, a cousin embedded in North Korea's military elite. In 2004, thanks to these ties, Kim received a rare invitation from North Korea's United Front Department to invest. He walked through that door. He arrived in Rason, a special economic zone, where the regime experimented with foreign investment. Kim poured his entire life savings, $2.6 million, into building the Tumanggung Hotel. Incredibly, it paid off. Kim became a model foreign entrepreneur. The state liked him. He created jobs, donated food and medicine to local communities. Kim Jong-il's administration gave him awards in 2007, 2009 and 2011. An American businessman personally commended by the North Korean government. Kim was that unique by 2009. Kim was 5 years into his North Korea life, with no idea Washington was watching. But of course they were. The CIA learned of Kim's presence and saw an opportunity that comes once in a lifetime. Here was a U.S. passport holder with an insider position behind enemy lines. Kim wasn't a spy yet. Sometime in 2009, he was approached by intelligence agents, first South Korean operatives, then Americans. The pitch was simple and heavy. "Will you work with us?" They asked Kim to become an antenna inside North Korea, a human listening post, transmitting what satellites and defectors never could. Kim was stunned if he said yes. Every day would be a high-wire act without a net. If caught, he would face torture, a show trial, a labor camp, or a bullet. No rescues, no prisoner swaps to count on. The CIA made no sweet promises. Two things swayed him. First, his compassion for the North Korean people. Living among them made him determined to help. He saw suffering up close. Second, the CIA knew what strings to pull. One operative told Kim, as a U.S. citizen, "The U.S. is also your homeland. You could do something for your homeland." Kim Dong-chul was the only American in position to spy inside North Korea. If he walked away, that door might slam shut forever. Kim made his choice. If you've been finding value in this story, hitting subscribe helps the channel keep bringing you stories like this one. It's free. Takes 1 second and means more than you know. He said yes. The CIA and South Korean NIS gave him a crash course in clandestine work. There was no time to pull him out for formal training, so they trained him on the fly, in secret meetings during his trips out of North Korea. They equipped him with special tools, a wristwatch containing a tiny hidden camera for snapping photos of documents, a miniature earpiece and receiver, dead drop protocols for leaving USB drives in prearranged hiding spots, simple codes for communication. Kim learned how to use each device and destroy it after use. If any gadget was found on him in North Korea, it would be a death sentence. One day in 2009, Kim Dong-chul crossed back into North Korea, carrying his luggage, his business plans, and a secret that could cost him everything. He was now an American spy in Pyongyang's House of Mirrors. From this moment on, every greeting he exchanged, every smile he offered, every deal he closed might be a lie. Kim was utterly alone, no backup, no extraction plan, the only American in North Korea. Now the only spy. What would his first mission reveal? And how long before the regime started noticing things that didn't add up? Year 1. Kim returns to his routine in racing. But nothing is routine anymore. In the market by the docks, he chats casually with a North Korean army officer, while the tiny camera on his wrist clicks away, capturing uniform badges and documents. Peeking from the officer's briefcase. At dinner with local officials, Kim laughs at their jokes, pours soju and listens for useful tidbits. He's learning to pretend every second. The first intelligence makes it out. Encrypted files slipped through a dead drop during a trip to China. When his handlers receive it, their response, "This is gold." Kim has photographed things satellites never could. Picked up whispers no phone tap would catch. Washington is stunned by the quality of intel flowing from this lone businessman. Race an antenna is live. Kim realizes he needs more than his own eyes and ears to get the valuable material. He needs insiders within the insiders. North Koreans he can trust and pay to feed him secrets. He begins carefully expanding his web. North Korea, he's learned, has a fatal weakness spelled with a $sign. Decades of economic collapse have left even loyal party members scrambling to feed their families. Foreign currency means survival. Kim starts identifying officials who are underpaid, dissatisfied, or simply greedy. A border guard who can slip him a shipping manifest, a clerk in a ministry who can copy a file. He approaches them quietly, one by one, with offers they can't get anywhere else. A few $100s for innocent information, at first business research. He might call it. Kim made these exchanges look like commerce. He pays for a government schedule of cargo ship arrivals. Under the pretense of planning hotel logistics, he hires a North Korean driver and pays extra when the driver mentions troop movements he saw on the highway to the North Koreans. Kim is a rich foreigner sharing wealth. They tell themselves it's harmless to Kim's handlers. Every one of these people is now an unwitting informant. By the end of his first year as a spy, Kim reels in his first major catch. An actual North Korean military officer, willing to sell secrets. This officer, we'll call him Agent Zero, passes Kim documents about a naval installation. Kim pays him with an envelope of US dollars. When those documents reach the CIA, analysts are astonished. Human intelligence inside the North Korean military. It's unprecedented in recent memory. Kim's confidence grows. Each success emboldens him and tightens the noose. With Agent Zero on board, one person now knows Kim's secret role. One person who, if compromised or interrogated, could name him Year 2. Kim pushes further. He recruits a second asset, a trading company official who travels between Pyongyang and Rason and can carry materials under the guise of business trips. Then a third asset, a border customs officer, who feeds him information on equipment arriving from China. More names, more faces. Kim has built a spy network. Inside the most closed country on Earth, he's not a lone antenna anymore. He's becoming a spy master. Around 2011, Kim was tasked with something extraordinary. His handlers want physical proof of North Korea's nuclear program, something tangible. Through whispers, Kim learns of a scientist in the country's nuclear research sector who is desperate for money. A plan takes shape. The scientist provides a small object in exchange for a substantial sum. The object, a 99.999% pure zinc ingot, stamped with USSR markings. High-purity zinc is used in nuclear warhead production and missile systems. This ingot came from old Soviet stock and is crucial for North Korea's weapons development. Kim has acquired from inside North Korea a physical piece of its nuclear puzzle. CIA satellites cannot retrieve samples. Kim walked one out. The ingot is spirited out, hidden in luggage on a China trip, and delivered to US intelligence. Langley is ecstatic. This Korean-American businessman, with no formal spy training, is pulling off feats the CIA only dreamed of. As Kim's network grows, so does the psychological weight on his shoulders. By Year 2's end, a half-dozen North Koreans are secretly working with, or for him, everyone is a potential vulnerability. Every added person is another risk. Each morning, Kim wakes in his modest quarters at the Tumangang Hotel and feels his heart thump. With a single thought, is today the day they find out? Every night he lies down, wondering if he'll be dragged from bed before morning. He can never confide in anyone, not business partners, not acquaintances, not even his own wife back in China, who believes he's just running the hotel and doing missionary aid work. Kim lives a life where one half of him must constantly lie to the other, and so the days pile up. 2010, 2011, 2012. Kim Dong-chul is still there, still spying, defying the odds with each passing month. The impossible duration of his mission grows and the risk of discovery compounds. How long can you count cards at the casino before security catches on? Kim doesn't know, and he can't afford to dwell on it. He carries on day by day, deceiving an entire regime from under its nose. But every spy network has a breaking point. What happens when the regime starts connecting dots? Kim didn't even know he was leaving. Year 3, 4. 5. Kim Dong-chul presses on, and the CIA's appetite only grows. Washington wants to know everything. What weapons tests are happening at North Korean bases? Who's being promoted in the army? Can Kim identify key scientists in the nuclear program? On the ground in Racine, Kim works frantically to satisfy these demands. He bribes a port official for shipping logs and discovers mysterious cargo arriving from China, possibly missile parts. He cultivates a friendship with a military policeman who reveals details about a new unit deployed near the Russian border. Each tidbit, each photograph, each report is a victory for Western intelligence. But the very success of Kim's espionage is creating a web of vulnerabilities. By Year 5, Kim has contacts across North Korea. Military officers in Pyongyang, traders in Chongjin, smugglers in Hesan, port workers in Rason. He's everywhere and nowhere. The invisible spider in a secret web, but each person in that web knows something about him, a face, a name, a meeting place. And North Korean counterintelligence is not asleep. They've always watched foreign businessmen closely, and Kim is no exception. For years, he managed to appear as nothing more than a harmless hotel proprietor. Yet as his operations expanded, subtle signs surfaced perhaps. The Security Bureau noticed certain officials meeting this American more often than normal, or that Kim took unusual interest in areas beyond his hotel business, asking one too many questions about a nearby naval base. North Korean surveillance is patient. At first they note and file these oddities. By year 5, Kim has to assume he's on someone's radar. Later he would learn that authorities had been quietly monitoring his activities for some time. Perhaps a background check revealed he was South Korean born, or had Western connections. Maybe an informant hinted that the American in Raisin was asking suspicious questions. In a society paranoid about espionage, a man like Kim could never be above suspicion. Indefinitely. Despite the danger, Kim can't simply quit. By 2014, he's been spying for 5 years. He's delivered an incalculable stream of intelligence. If he stops, that stream dries up. And what about his sources? Those North Koreans who fed him information for money. If he vanishes, they might be exposed. The CIA has no replacement ready. He is truly one of them in his mind. He's trapped every additional day he stays. The risk goes up, but if he leaves, everything he built falls apart. Kim chooses to stay, hoping he can stretch his luck a little longer. By late 2014, cracks appeared. A dispute with local authorities almost blows his cover. In an unplanned way that autumn, Kim discovers that while he was away, a racing construction crew knocked down a wall of his hotel. Without permission, furious, he publicly denounces local officials. In one account, Kim threatened a dramatic protest. He said he would disembowel himself in front of statues of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il if the decision wasn't reviewed. In North Korea, making a scene by a leader's statue is treason. Suicide is considered a defiant act against the state, yes. Kim essentially declared he'd rather die than be pushed around by corrupt officials. That outburst painted a target on his back. After years of actual espionage, it was a legitimate business dispute that most visibly alerted the regime that Kim Dong-chul might be in trouble. October 2015. North Korea plans a grand celebration for the 70th anniversary of the ruling Workers' Party. Foreign guests are invited, and Kim, as a long-term investor, is among them. Despite the rising heat, Kim returns once more from China. Perhaps he hopes showing up will allay suspicion. But this time the reception feels different. Eyes are always on him more than usual. On October 1st, he crossed the border for what will be the last time. After a routine meeting with a party official, Kim steps out of a government building. His car waits. He's about to climb in when an unexpected face approaches. One of his own secret agents, a North Korean contact in his network. This man should not be here in broad daylight in public. Kim's stomach lurches. The agent walks straight up and presses something into Kim's hand, a USB drive and a bundle of papers. Intelligence materials. He was supposed to deliver covertly, but he's delivering them now in front of everyone. Kim's eyes darted around. Why is his agent acting so recklessly? The man gives a brief odd smile, then slips away. Kim stands exposed, holding sensitive materials in the open. This feels like a setup. His heart pounds. Did his agent just burn him? Or was the agent compromised, forced to play a role? As Kim hurriedly gets into his car, another familiar figure slides in beside him, John Young-dok, head of the local state security department's counter-espionage office. John has always been cordial to Kim, part of the facade of hospitality toward investors, but today his presence radiates menace. He politely requests that Kim drive to the Namsan hotel for a chat. Within minutes of arriving, security officers move in. They confiscate Kim's bag, his phone and the USB stick. They cover his eyes with a blindfold, bundle him into a vehicle and speed away. Kim Dong-chul, code-named Antenna, is now a prisoner of the regime he betrayed. As the van carries Kim toward an interrogation cell, one thought might offer cold comfort. The final intel he delivered, close-up photos of a mysterious vessel in Rogan Port, made it out he sent them just days before. The mission was accomplished, but it also raised red flags. Perhaps the regime discovered unusual activity around that ship, caught the agent in the act and flipped him. They baited the hook with a final USB handoff, and Kim took it after 6 years of running the gauntlet. His luck has run out. What happens to a man when he's dragged into North Korea's interrogation chambers? And was everything he sacrificed, the years, the lies, the people he put at risk, worth anything at all? Kim Dong-chul vanishes into the black hole of North Korea's secret police. For months, no one knows where he is or if he's alive. Inside interrogation chambers, he lives a nightmare. Interrogators want everything. The full extent of his spying, the names of every contact, the methods. Kim holds out as long as he can, but the methods to break him are beyond brutal. He is beaten daily. Interrogations push him past his limits. Soldiers shatter his fingers under their boots. Sleep deprivation, starvation, electric shocks. Kim later said he was tortured in unusual ways. At one point, consumed by despair, Kim tries to end his own life. He poisons himself by inhaling charcoal briquette gas. He loses consciousness, but guards find him alive and douse him in freezing water. When Kim comes to trembling on the concrete floor, a guard sneers, "Number 429. You're destined to live a long life. You won't die until we say so." Ultimately, Kim breaks. In March 2016, he's pushed in front of cameras in Pyongyang to read a prepared apology. He admits under duress to stealing military secrets. During interrogations, he tried to protect his highest-level contacts. He gave up only lower-level names. 6 North Koreans identified as accomplices. Those individuals were executed for aiding him. To save himself, he condemned others. In April 2016, Kim is sentenced to 10 years of hard labor. He is shipped to a camp as prisoner 4-2. 9 days blur into toil. He digs, carries loads despite injuries. Exposure to toxic chemicals nearly kills him. His weight plummets. Permanent damage from torture leaves him unable to stand straight. Unbeknownst to him, events unfold beyond those walls. In 2017, a new U.S. president engages in brinkmanship with Kim Jong-un. By early 2018, a thaw begins. U.S. diplomats press North Korea on American prisoners. On May 9, 2018, after 31 months in captivity, Kim Dong-chul is handed to U.S. envoys on a Pyongyang tarmac. Within hours, he's at Joint Base Andrews, shaking hands with President Trump, emaciated, scarred but free. The story could end here, but to stop now would ignore what came before. For 6 years, Kim achieved something deemed impossible. He infiltrated North Korea so deeply that he became a trusted participant. He built a human intelligence network where trust is rarer than gold. He gathered military secrets, nuclear details, photographs no satellite could collect. He personally handed files to the CIA. The information informed us understanding of North Korea. During critical years, Kim succeeded at his mission. Every day he wasn't caught. He lasted 2,190 sunrises, longer than the entire Korean War. His capture doesn't erase those 6 years. If anything, it underlines how miraculous his run was. Back in South Korea after release, Kim struggled even a year later. He couldn't walk properly. He admitted feeling regret. If he had quit earlier, maybe he wouldn't have lost so much. He misses the life he had before it went wrong, and despite everything, part of him loved the country and its people. He wrote a book titled Border Rider, describing himself as forever caught between worlds. Yet his answers about whether it was worth it are nuanced. He speaks of how his ordeal deepened his appreciation for freedom. "Whenever I am exhausted, I feel empowered. When I think of my life in North Korea," he wrote, "I wake up feeling how valuable freedom is." He speaks of living on borrowed time. "I'm contemplating how to valuably use the life I'm living on borrowed time." Kim's saga offers strange hope. He proved that even the most closed society has cracks. An ordinary person exploited those cracks brilliantly. For years in May 2018, As Kim stepped off that plane, he said he was surprised anyone remembered him. In prison, he had felt completely forgotten, but he wasn't forgotten. His work wasn't in vain. Kim Dong-chul's story doesn't have a tidy moral. It's not a simple victory or defeat. It's both. He lost nearly everything: years' health, his home in North Korea, yet achieved something no one else has. In intelligence terms, he was one of a kind. In human terms, he was a 62-year-old grandfather who endured the unendurable out of duty and faith. The final image: Kim Dong-chul, once prisoner 429, standing in Seoul a year after release. The life of the border writer is always lonely. He writes there's no monument for what he did. But we know this. For 6 years, he was the only one. The CIA couldn't do it, the military couldn't. But Kim Dong-chul did. That fact can never be unwritten. Success isn't always about getting away. Sometimes it's about how long you defy the odds before fate catches up. And if you want to see what happens when someone tries to escape North Korea rather than spy inside it, the other side of this impossible border, watch this video next.